We're going to take an intermission to talk about category and function. So when we talk about categories, we're talking about the syntactic category. Is it a noun? Is it a verb? Is it a noun phrase? Is it a verb phrase? Is it an adjective, adverb, preposition, things like that? When we talk about functions, we're talking about the purpose, either within a clause, within a phrase, and so on. So functions are things like the subject of the sentence, the predicate of the sentence, the direct object, the indirect object, the adverbial, the modifiers, things like that. So in the diagram to the right, what you'll notice is we're doing it as category then function. So John is a noun phrase, NP, that is also a subject. So noun phrase functioning as a subject. Eats beans is a VP, a verb phrase. We'll learn what that means in the next section. And it's functioning as a predicate. And these combine to build up a sentence. So this is just a little note because we're going to see this notation going forward when we talk about determiners and pronouns. Okay, we've got a bit of a dense one here. So we'll talk about determiners and pronouns. So there's some words that can act as either a determiner. So this is a word that is going to introduce a noun, specifying more information about it, or the word category can function as a pronoun and basically just act as the entire phrase on its own. So there's some determiners, some categories that only function as determiners, some categories only as pronouns, but there's some that are mixed. So we'll talk about each of these in depth as we go through, but I just want to point out the example, what I mean here with these in the middle. For my dog versus mine, my and mine are both possessives, but my dog is the head noun there. And my is introducing that. It's specifying more information, so it's acting as what's called a determiner, DET. But in the case of mine, it's replacing the entire noun phrase. The actual noun itself is not being specified. So it's a possessive acting as a pronoun. So we'll see this as we go on, but I just want to highlight those differences here. So the first two are articles, the indefinite articles and the definite articles. So we call the indefinite article indef and the definite article def. Indefinites denote no particular noun. We only have two indefinite articles in English, and un. So a wild customer appeared. So is introducing customer. And then we also have please buy me an ice cream cone. So an is going to be introducing ice cream cone. Definite articles specify a specific noun. So when you use the, you imply uniqueness and existence. The noun exists and the noun is unique in terms of the discourse. I'm trying to point out a unique thing. So the puppy peed all over the carpet. So the is introducing puppy noun, the is introducing carpet noun. And what we see in this case is when you read this sentence, you understand that a puppy exists and it's a specific puppy. You understand the carpet exists and it's a specific carpet. So indefinites and definites, these function as determiners. So when they're used as determiners, we give them this :det label to say that they are, in fact, determiners. Now, demonstratives are words that talk about the noun in terms of location or space and time. So things either in front of you or away from you, things present or in the past. So these are words like this, that, these, and those. In fact, these are the only four that we have in English, the four demonstratives: this, that, these, and those. Now, when it acts as a determiner, it's going to introduce the noun. So this salmon looks very delicious. That gardener wanted to give peas a chance. Those carpets are hideous, Dave. That noun is being specified, and we can see this in the top right diagram. So this salmon, it's acting as a determiner because it's introducing that noun. But we can use it as a pronoun too. So instead of this salmon looks very delicious, this looks very delicious. This is acting as an entire noun phrase. So in this case, the demonstrative is acting as a pronoun because there's no noun that it's introducing. It is taking the place of the entire noun phrase. So that wanted to give peas a chance. I need you to buy these for me. Those are hideous, Dave. So here's the possessives from before. So possessives They indicate possession using a pronoun. So my, his or her, our, their as determiners. So my anaconda, again, introducing the noun, her broken window, her introducing window, their mansion, their introducing mansion. We see that it's introducing the noun, so it's functioning as a determiner. But we have the pronoun version too. So instead of my anaconda bit a stranger, mine bit a stranger. Her broken window was fixed, hers was fixed. This possessive is now acting as a pronoun because it's taking up the entire noun phrase. Now, interrogatives are WH words. So, who, what, when, where, why, and how. There is a WH in how, it's just the order is different, but they're still there. So, this will replace a noun in a question, and it will ask a question about it. So, as a determiner, you might have, say, what candy do you like? Where you're saying, what out of a certain set do you like? But you might be less specific. You might just say, what do you like? In which case, you have what acting as a pronoun because you're not introducing another noun. So we can see the difference there. Which boy band versus which? Whose signature is that? Whose is that? Whose signature? That's a determiner. Whose? That's just a pronoun. So these categories are int because they introduce questions. Interrogative just basically means question. And determiners and pronouns based on their function. We have some more pronouns. You're not going to see these as determiners, well, except for the indefinites. But these are just sort of the things that we could classify as one, but we'll separate. We have personal pronouns. These are the subjects and objects that you expect. I, me, you, he, she, him, or her. We call those pers, and they're pronouns. We have reflexives. So these are any of the pronouns with the self suffix. So myself, yourself, himself, ourselves, yourselves. That's also a pronoun. Then we have indefinites. So we could have, say, any body. This would be a very literal interpretation of like any single body out there, which would be a quantifier and a noun. So that would build up into a noun phrase. But if we have this general sense of the word, where it's just like what you really mean is an unspecified person, then this is just in fact an indefinite pronoun. So we're kind of using the fact that spaces create new words in this case. So if you see anybody as one word, indefinite pronoun, anybody, that's two separate words, quantifier and noun. So let's try some practice. You can identify the NPs here, label all the words, and if you would like, you can draw its structure. So you can pause and I'll go over the answers now. Which CD did my child steal from those shelves in the music store? He stole 2 copies, but nobody said a thing. This is outrageous. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 noun phrases in the first sentence. Let's label. So which CD? This is going to be an interrogative determiner because what it is doing is it is introducing the noun with the CD. So that would be its own little noun phrase there. My child, this is going to be a possessive, and this is acting as a determiner because it's introducing the noun child. Those shelves, those is a demonstrative, and it's acting once again as a determiner because it is introducing the noun shelves. And the music store. So this is our definite determiner. We definitely know store is a noun. We have to remember music is going to be a noun too. And it's going to be a modifier for store. So you might remember that from one of the previous videos in this section. New music store versus the music news store. Music news store is weird, so music is a noun. He, this is going to be a personal pronoun. 2 copies. What we have here is we have a cardinal numeral, and then we have a noun. Nobody. Here's the case where we have an indefinite pronoun. A thing. So thing is a noun. Is an indefinite, and this is acting as a determiner in this case. And finally, this is outrageous. Now we have a demonstrative, so we have a demon. It's not introducing a noun, so it's functioning as a pronoun. So I could have built the structures on the bottom, but I figured from the top you would understand that by now. So now, in terms of question 2, we have my old grocery store. I again, how different it was. A small yacht was being sold by the entrance. So these are some more noun phrases here, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the second set. I, it, and I again are all going to be personal pronouns, so I'm not going to label I and it. Old is going to be an adjective. Grocery is going to be a noun, and store is going to be a noun. Old grocery store versus grocery old store. Grocery old store is weird, so we want grocery to be a noun there. And my is going to be a possessive, but it's acting as a determiner in this case because it's introducing the noun store. In the case of a small yacht, I think you're pretty good with these other ones. We're looking at the indefinite determiner, and here we're looking at the definite determiner. So, if we think about the structure so far that we've been building at the beginning of this section, this is what we have so far. These two very strong friends in my first apartment. These, demonstrative determiner, 2 is a cardinal numeral, very strong as a qualifier, and adjective built into an adjective phrase. Friends is our noun. And then my first apartment, my is a possessive determiner. First is an ordinal numeral, and n for the apartment. So we just need to figure out in, and that'll be the end of this section.